Everyone else can't come in. You're done.
There we go. Good. So welcome to Nellie LaValle's senior exhibition. She will have 15 minutes to make her presentation, and then we give an extra 5 minutes if needed. And at the end of that time, the panel deliberates and the audience gets to leave. Right after the presentation, I'll ask the panel if they have any questions, and then I'll ask the audience if they have any questions. So if you have a burning question, hang on to it, and hopefully you'll get a chance to ask it. Nellie, whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go now. Hi, my name is Nellie LaValle, and this is my senior exhibition, My Adventure with Ballet. And, okay, so, my essential question is, how can learning ballet help me move outside my comfort zone? Starting this journey, I was thinking about forming my project in the first classes, and I had to narrow down my ideas because I had so many. This seemed like an incredible opportunity to do whatever I wanted to. There was money available and there was plenty of time, and so I was thinking of doing something that I love to do, like rock climbing or traveling or teaching Italian because I'm fluent. But in the end, I decided that this was an opportunity to do something that I would never be able to do again. And so I decided to do ballet. And so I wanted to make this meaningful. So I chose this because I've always wanted to be a ballerina. Anyone who knows me knows that I've been obsessed with ballet for most of my life. This is me when I was really young. I took one ballet class, and this is my first and last recital. But I wanted to do something that was out of my box, what I don't do. So what I do is school. I like school, I'm good at school. I have the GPA to prove it and the grades. I travel a lot. I've been to Costa Rica, I've been to Greece, and I spent my last semester, the spring semester of last year, in Italy on an exchange. And so this is me in Florence on a trip I took there. And I do art. I work mostly with photography, and I am the co-president of the National Art Honor Society. And I do sports. I've taken advantage of the sports here at the high school. I've done diving, I've done soccer, and I've also rock climbed for most of my life. But what I wanted to do here was look at my shortcomings. And so I don't really start new things very often. I have a tendency to stay within my box and do what I've always done. And I've also stepping outside of my comfort zone. It's hard for me because once you're out there, you might not necessarily be good at those things. And so starting new things is a challenge. And also being patient with myself. I find that I do take failure regularly well, but I've never really had a chance to come up with a challenge. So I had to struggle past it. So this project was an opportunity to do just that. My prior knowledge in the field of ballet. I had a knowledge of the positions. I think everyone knows first position. I think everyone has an idea of that. I had an awareness of the major ballets. I've watched a lot of documentaries of the Russian dance companies and the French companies. Anything available on Netflix, I've watched it. And so here is Swan Lake, and then here's the Nutcracker, which I think everyone's introduction to ballet was the Nutcracker. And I've always been really aware of the difficulty. As I said, I've watched plenty of Netflix movies and any TV show, so I've always been aware of how hard it is to be. It's a hard lifestyle, it's a really hard art form. But I did enter with a few assumptions. Physical strength, that was one of the biggest ones. I thought, oh, it's mostly about learning the choreography and flexibility, but I wouldn't have to be super strong. That's not true at all. Ballerinas are incredibly strong, and it takes a lot of strength to perform and stamina. And also, I thought maybe I'd be able to go on point by the end of this. That wasn't true. Here are a pair of point shoes. I had this dream, but it takes a lot of work, and you have to be really a wonderful ballerina before you can go up on point. Kids who do that their entire lives usually don't go up on point until they're around 11. So I definitely have some catching up to do. I thought I might be able to look like this at the end of the project, or maybe this. This is an exaggeration, but you do get an idea of what I've been seeing and what I pictured myself looking like. So my mentor, she's been a wonderful part of this experience. Her name is Ann Eckberg. She's right over there. She teaches ballet in Salisbury Cove, and she received a BFA from the Boston Conservatory of Music. She performed with the International Festival of Youth Orchestra. She has taught ballet and modern for the La Gria Dance Company, Tappan Zee Dance Group, and Master School, mostly in New York. And she's taught ballet in the area for quite a while. And she teaches a mixture of Limon, Humphrey, and Graham. And so why I chose her was she had really small class sizes, so I knew I'd get personal attention and make it easier for myself to learn. The classes were a lot less formal than other places around, like Lubitsky, which is hard to get into, and very accessible, close to my house, and she was always there to talk. And also, she's a little bit of an inspiration to me because she learned modern her entire life and didn't learn ballet until later on. So she is an example of that it's possible to learn ballet later on in life. And here's a picture of her and me. She's actually moving me over, pushing me because I was too far left on this. And other influences in this project. Samantha Luck, she choreographed the entire show choir, the treble show choir, and she also helped choreograph a piece for the dance corps, or dance class here. And then also Mr. Rigo, because he was the teacher of the dance class I took. He was wonderful. So my official dance classes. I take 2 classes. The first is a younger, more classical ballet class, and it's with some 9-year-olds, 3 other girls in the class, and then me. And the older is people my own age, another 3 girls, and it's more modern dance. And what we've been working on is not only the learning ballet, but also an end-of-the-year recital, so there is a dance choreographed in each of these classes, which I learned. And here's me at the bar with the younger class. I'm bigger than them. Some of the basics in ballet, the stuff that we wear. Transition tights, that's the first basic of ballet. And you'll notice that everything is in ballet pink. It's just standard color for girls. And transition is to transition easily from barefoot to regular soft point ballet shoes and to point shoes, because then you slip in padding. And which it's interesting, the color pink, because I learned from the Story of Ballet, which is this book about everything history-wise. Men used to wear pink because it was closer to red, which is more masculine because it's more like strong and violent and passionate. And women wore blue. So that switched somewhere along the line. The next is the leotard. It is used under tutus during performances, during classes, and to show the body and everything that you're doing, because it's all about the body. And also for teachers to correct when they see something going wrong. Here are a pair of point shoes. There's a shank in the back, which is made out of wood or enforced paper. And then at the tip, that's along the arch. And then at the tip of the toe, there's a block, which is made of paper mache, basically. And it's tight around your foot. So what your foot is actually doing in the point shoe is up on the very tippy toes. However, all the pressure isn't on the front of the foot because it's structured so that it's just moved around. And here are soft point shoes. I have the same pair. It has a split sole, which makes it easier to point. And there are also these, which has a regular sole and are made of leather. And then here's me sewing my ballet shoes, because you have to sew the straps. And so also, ballet glossary. Here are some of the terms which I use every day in class, which I've either learned from Miss Annie or from the Ballet Companion, which is a book which describes all things ballet. It has what to wear to class, what every term means, pictures to go with it, which has been really helpful. So the positions, they start out in first, then it goes to second, and then an open fourth, which is, it can be closed or open, and in my class we use open, and then fifth position. And then there are arms that go with each of these. So it's first, second, open fourth, then fifth. And then the petit battements, these are a group of bar exercises. And so the first of these is tendu, and it's the most basic, and it's for building toe strength because an arch your foot, because that's really important in ballet. And it works on the cross, which is most things in ballet does. And it's at the bar, so you have one hand right here, and you go front and back, and then to the side, and switch, and then to the back, and to the side. And it's really important that you're brushing the floor and then it ends with a point to build toe strength. Next is the dégagé, and it's just a step higher than the tendu, and so it works the same pattern, and except for at the end, you're going a couple inches above the floor, and then back and here. So it looks like that, and then same pattern. And these can be done in multiples. It gets more complex from there. Next are the grand battement, and this goes from fifth again, and it starts off here in fifth, and it's a high kick, and the second, and then here, and this is kind of arabesque, and then second again, and then you're back at the beginning. And that works your hip flexors. Rond de jambe. This is an exercise that really works your turnout. So you start from the side, arm in second, and you work a semicircle. It's really important that your ankle is always showing, and that's like the most important thing in ballet. And like Miss Annie told me, pretend like you have a jewel on your ankle that the whole audience wants to see. That's what she tells her little kids, but it works. And that works en dedans, which is counterclockwise, and en dehors, which is regular. Relevé. This can be done in any of the positions, and you push up to the pads of your feet. And that's a preparation for the regular point. Arabesque. This can be done at the bar or on the floor, and it's a really big thing in ballet. I think you've all seen this. And so what it is here, and there are different positions for the arms, but basically your leg is straight out, your toe is pointed, and it's at a 90 degree or higher to your standing leg, which is this. This is the working leg, the leg which is doing all the movement, and this is the standing leg, which is supposed to stay firm at all times. And then plie. This is a small bend of the knees, which is a demi-plie, and then a grand plie goes all the way down to the ground with your heels off of the floor, or in second with your heels on the floor. And those get done in all positions. Entrechat. So this is more the jumps, and these are the basic jumps of ballet. It goes from fifth, and you go up, and you land again. Échappé. This can be done, it's a closed position to an open position, so it can be done from first or from fifth. I'll do from fifth. So you go up, second, and then back. Or you can switch to the other fifth. And more. So, but these are the very basics. There are plenty other ballet terms, don't worry. The 9-year-old class. So this was the building block of my whole experience. The first thing that's really important is that I was bigger than everyone in the class, which was hard at times. I was the leader of the line, or I was the base of their arabesques. It was really interesting, and it was actually really fun. It was hard making friends with them, but a big part of this is the repetitive bar exercises. Since at the bar, we build all of the strength and technique for what we do on the floor. And usually it was about half of the class was bar exercises, and the rest was either working on jumps or working on across the floor variations, or working on our choreography, which is a lot of it. And that was really important because the bar exercises are typical in ballet. It was relatively challenging. Although it wasn't as challenging as the older class, it was still, all of the stuff was new to me. And especially when she started picking up the pace, where we were doing faster variations, and it got a little harder. And also flexibility was pretty difficult. So here is me at the bar. We're doing a chambray back. And here are some pictures. This is at the end, at the very bottom. It's at the end of our dance. And then here, it's a section of the dance, another section, a bar exercise, and then working pirouettes, which I have not mastered at all yet. hopefully they'll come. And the older class, like I said, was a much more modern style of dance, and it had a whole new set of challenges. Big part of it was balance, trying to keep my balance during a lot of the arabesques and the choreography, which was really, really hard. Not very good at balancing yet. Also strength, and the choreography was a lot harder to memorize. It had a lot more challenging material, which I had to kind of up my bar to meet. I'm proud to say I have memorized it though. And most of it was building from the younger class. So in the younger class, we would be doing a small thing at the bar, and in the older class, we would take that to the floor. Like we'd be doing simple échappés in the younger class, and then in the older class, we'd be doing a whole new set of jumps where it's from second to open fourth to fifth, to second to open fourth to fifth, and back and forth, but very quickly, and with the arms, which really threw me off. And here's us on the floor. Here's some pictures. And there is a small clip. So, the challenges of this. Physical strength was a big one, which I had to really work on. Flexibility. I'm not that flexible. It takes a lot of practice to become flexible, but that will take time. Memorizing the dances was really difficult for me, trying to keep my mind on the choreography, and also with only 1 2-hour class a week, it was really hard to keep it fresh in my mind for the next week and to work on the things that we had just corrected. And also grace, because it's not just about doing the dance, it's about putting feeling and beauty into the dance. So I could have just done the moves, but you're not just doing the moves, you're talking with your body. And learning to be embarrassed, which is, I think, what this whole thing is about. Pushing myself out of my comfort zone, doing something I'm not used to. And yeah, I looked foolish a lot of times when I would fall out of my pirouettes, or when I was shaking trying to do an arabesque and I was almost falling. But it was okay, because it was an environment where it's okay, and I think that was really interesting. And here's us doing an arabesque, which is the hardest. And so what? My essential question is, how can learning ballet teach me to move outside my comfort zone? Learning to struggle was really big on this, and just trying to work hard at doing the choreography, at learning the moves, and patience, being patient with myself. I expected to go in this and kind of find it come to me naturally. It didn't, but I was okay with that in the end because I'm learning. It's slow. And the joy of dancing. I really enjoy dancing, I love it, and I'm going to continue it. And I'm really glad I had this experience that pushed me to start it. Otherwise, I would never have tried ballet, and I would be really sad because I've always wanted to do ballet, and I've always wanted to be a ballerina, and now this is my opportunity. And so here's me in my costume for the little kid show. Where now? I'll be attending Colby College in the fall. I want to continue dancing in college for sure. There are like intermediate classes, which I would love to take. And it can be a lifelong hobby. Dance is something that you can do wherever you are. There are always going to be classes, or you could do it on your own. And it's just something that you can always do. And it's a good way to keep active, and just, it's interesting. And so, finishing up, I'd like to give quick thank yous to my mentor, Eckberg. Thank you so much for helping me through this. Don Greco and Samantha Luck for helping me through the process. Samantha Luck taught me which shoes to buy and tights, and Mr. Greco was always there for questions. Nimbus Dance Work, I didn't talk about them in my presentation, but I took a couple of classes from them. They came and talked to the school about dance. And the grant, it really helped me afford the classes, and then also leotard, tights, etc. And also you guys for coming to see my presentation. Okay, so questions?
Questions from the panelists?
Yeah.
Nellie, thinking about your prior knowledge, don't know if you spoke to this. I know that your instructor was part of modern and ballet. And then thinking about what you've known before for dance, what is your experience? I know ballet you mentioned, but what about prior knowledge about other dance?
Oh, well.
I don't know, you might have said it, I'm not sure.
No, I didn't, because my primary focus for this was ballet, but I had a little bit of very, very little knowledge of modern dance from Mr. Grieco's class. I was taking a dance class, and that was a little bit of what inspired this, because I realized I really liked to do it. And so he taught his classes mostly, it's a little bit of African-inspired modern, is what I like to think of it. And also, after starting ballet, I started the dance club, and we did a dance which was choreographed by Sam and Mr. Grieco, and the name is Dance Works. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris?
How did you get that information?
What?
How did you get that information?
Which information? All of this?
Yeah.
Well, the story of ballet, which is all about the history, learned lots of great things about where it started. It started in Italy, actually, not even Russia, which I always thought it started in Russia. And then the Ballet Companion, which is like the Bible of ballet. It has all of the moves that you can do, and pictures, and just like explanations of the simplest things, and even stuff like exercise to prepare you from class, or what should you wear to class, which was a big question of mine.
Nellie, did you go back and watch any of the Netflix cool
Oh yeah.
ballet things and kind of study it a little bit?
It's funny because now when I'm looking at it, it's like interesting because, oh, I know that move. Because even in the biggest ballets, they're still doing the very basics, because really ballet is working off a couple simple principles, which are just, they grow. And so I was like, oh, that's an arabesque. And then this is a pas de bourrée, which they're doing, because pas de bourrée is a basic move, but it's used everywhere. Yeah?
Well, I always have questions. So thinking about, I love the idea of like learning to be embarrassed. I think that's just such an important thing to do in life, to make you move forward and out of that comfort zone, and knowing that that's your one of your big focuses. You were part, it sounds like, of a class culture in your small groups that really had a really positive learning environment.
Yeah.
Do you think that or how do you think that may have impacted being able to move forward, and in the future with maybe not such a welcoming environment, how might you still be able to overcome this experience?
That's a really great question, because I think that this has been so much easier being in a group with 3 other little kids or 3 girls who I'm friends with. And so it's easy to be embarrassed in that situation. Not necessarily easy, because it was still putting me outside of my comfort zone into this thing which I was not used to doing, or I had never really danced. And so, but I think it would have been a lot more difficult, and maybe I wouldn't have had so much fun with it if I had been in an environment where it wasn't okay to mess up as much. Like, I know that some dance groups are really strict and severe, and so this was nice to have an introduction but not feel penalized for any mess ups, because I did mess up a lot, and it's okay because it's all part of the learning process. Yeah, Luce?
Wait, Nellie, who are the people in your dance class?
Actually, they're all here. Kendra Bonzi, Lucy Suchek, and Flannery Dillon. And everyone, our recital is tonight, and so that's exciting. It's at the Salisbury Cove. It's across the street from the church, so yeah. I don't know what you'd call it. It's like parish hall.
What time?
It's at 4. It's at 4, so anyone who wants to come is welcome. Any other questions?
Great. Well,
Okay. Thank you. Oh God, it was so loud.
thank you, Nellie. Thank you, audience.